like some of the elders that I speak to, they get excited when they hear about the different projects, and so with those projects it's important that we ensure that we create a space for elders to also support those projects. So they're out on country with us and they're overseeing the projects being done.
G'day and welcome to the final episode for Season 2 of the Reef in Focus podcast. My name's Lincoln Bertoli and we're recording in Walgaruga and neighbouring Bindal country as well. And for the context of this episode, it's also very important to acknowledge the traditional owners and the elders of the Girringun footprint, and we're going to put that in a little bit more context. The traditional use of marine resources agreements, or TUMRAs, have been building powerful partnerships between not only government, scientists, research organisations and traditional owner groups across the Great Barrier Reef catchment for the past 20 years. And joining me for this conversation is Jade Pryor, who is a traditional owner from the Bandjin and Girramay people and coordinator of the Girringun TUMRA. Jade brings a deep cultural knowledge, lived experience and a passion for connecting community and science. She offers a unique perspective on how these agreements have grown over the past 2 decades and what they mean for the future of the reef and generations to come. Jade, thank you very much for joining us and welcome.
Thank you.
Now, you play a pivotal role as coordinator of the Girringun TUMRA, but before we get into all of the details, can you tell us a little bit about your personal connection to the Great Barrier Reef and sea country?
Yeah, so I may be the TUMRA coordinator and connected to 2 of those traditional owner groups that Girringun advocates for and represents. But first and foremost, I want betterment for our 6 saltwater groups. And it's an honour to work with the elders and also create opportunities for the younger generations, not only with regards to the steering committee that I work very closely with for the Girringun TUMRA region, but also creating space and opportunities for young traditional owners with connecting to country, and also supporting them to have a stronger understanding and a stronger value for caring for country and culture.
Yeah, okay. And it's such a unique perspective to get from you personally, given the breadth of the Girringun footprint, if you like. But from a personal point of view, can we ask you, can you take us back? Do you remember when, for example, you first saw or fell in love or experienced the Great Barrier Reef?
So my personal experience, I was a child, and my auntie and uncle and one of my cousins, who I refer to as my brother, who now lives in Western Australia, we were only children, and we were actually holidaying at Mission Beach, would you believe it or not, and we went for a day trip to the reef. So I have fond memories of that, and then some years have passed. In 2021 I started as the Girringun TUMRA coordinator, and so I really immersed myself in this role. And I've had a number of opportunities to go out on country, but for me, a memorable experience is last year we hosted our first Girringun TUMRA youth camp, and we took 25 young people to the reef.
Yep.
Only one had ever been to the reef before.
Really?
And so for those young people to have that opportunity, not only to connect with country, but to see the reef, it was emotional and eye-opening, but it resonated with me, the importance of my job and ensuring that this next generation can enjoy country just as we have been able to.
Yeah, okay. It's a great segue into our next question, if you like. As a TO from Bandjin and Girramay country, what sort of teachings, I guess, from your own community do you take or do you use to approach your work as TUMRA coordinator?
I guess as the TUMRA coordinator, we're always in the spotlight, and it's not just about teaching our traditional owners, but mainstream community the importance and significance of the TUMRA, Traditional Use of Marine Resources Agreement, and how it's valuable not only to traditional owners, but mainstream community. So it's a win-win for all. Like my ancestors who paved a path before me, they lived and hunted and gathered with the seasons, and they took great care and pride of country culture and their people. Yep. And our narrative has never changed. But I guess for our younger generation, it's important for them to be able to still see that knowledge transfer and have those experiences on country with the elders. Because, you know, as everyone knows, over time you start to lose those senior elders, and that's where knowledge can be lost.
Yeah. And you have touched on it a little bit before I ask my next question, but you mentioned as coordinator of the TUMRA for the Girringun footprint, can you explain or can you unpack that a little bit more? What exactly is a traditional use of marine resources agreement?
So that's a very significant and important tool for traditional owners to hunt sustainably within their respective sea country areas. So we have 2 of our traditional owner groups who allow the traditional hunt of sea turtle, and the other 4 groups have complete bans. So with that, those 2 groups, their traditional hunt policy is you have to be a traditional owner from those 2 respective groups. And that allows traditional owners to independently manage sea country as well as our ancestors did before us. But I guess with LAW, it allows traditional owners to continue those cultural practices and protocols under the LORE.
Yeah, okay. So can you expand on that a little bit further, I guess, if apart from, say, traditional hunting practices, what else does it involve in line with like modern marine management?
So with regards to the Girringun TUMRA, for example, some 20 years on since the TUMRA was established within the Girringun TUMRA, we're now doing seagrass and dugong monitoring projects, mangrove monitoring, fish monitoring. We've got a blue carbon project at the moment as well, and that has created an important opportunity for our rangers to be upskilled, but also for elders to connect with country, and also our ranger program also. So with regards to the rangers, all of those projects that I've just mentioned, we always ensure that there's capacity for our rangers to be upskilled and learn, if not the entire process of those projects, but at least be able to have capacity to upskill in some way, shape or form.
Yeah, okay. And it must be so pleasing and such a proud moment, I guess, as you said, for your predecessors who set up the original TUMRA agreement to see traditional knowledge expanding into all these different areas.
Oh, definitely. And like some of the elders that I speak to, they get excited when they hear about the different projects. And so with those projects, it's important that we ensure that we create a space for elders to also support those projects. So they're out on country with us and they're overseeing the projects being done. And then it gives them a stronger appreciation to see the work being done on country because they're able to have a stronger understanding why it's done and how it's done.
Yeah, cool. Can we explore that a little bit more, the Blue Carbon Project? Can you explain specifically what it means, what it is? What does a typical day look like for a Girringun Ranger involved in a project like this?
So with regards to the Blue Carbon Project, there were 2 rangers, a male and a female ranger assigned to the project, and they learnt all aspects of the project, hands-on work. They have had multiple opportunities to go to JCU Tropwater and do the work that a scientist does and learn the full process. So we sent out the team of rangers, but we also ensured that we had an elder present when we went out on country and did the carbon sampling. So then that involved the samples being taken back to the lab and then tested. And then while we also did that, we did the seagrass samples as well on country. So we've done the 6 saltwater groups now, and we've always ensured that there was an elder present. And to see those rangers grow, not only professionally but personally, through those opportunities that have been created, it's beautiful to see because they have evolved within their role as Indigenous Rangers as well, which is really,
cool.
really special.
Yeah. And they're not only involved in sort of specialist programs, like you said, they're boots on the ground, compliance duty sort of every day across the catchment as well.
Definitely. So our Indigenous Rangers do land and sea management. So with regards to the compliance stuff, they do land surveys as well as sea country business. So with regards to the sea country business, they go out on the water and they assess and monitor for any illegal conduct or activity taking place within our respective sea country area. But with regards to our Girringun Rangers, they are far more than just land and sea management. Like with regards to the recent flooding that we had in Ingham, were just amazing for not only the traditional owners, but their communities. They were on the ground, helping people clean up, helping people move damaged goods.
Yep.
So the skills and abilities that our rangers have is far more than just land and sea management.
Yeah, exactly. And as you said, continuing to grow.
That's right.
Yeah. We mentioned, I think earlier, that this year we're also celebrating a very significant milestone. It's 20 years since the first TUMRA with Girringun was signed in 2005. What does a milestone like that mean to you as TUMRA coordinator and as a traditional owner?
I get emotional speaking about it because seeing how hard and tireless those elders worked who were instrumental in Girringun being the first ever TUMRA within the Great Barrier Reef region, and to be able to work with some of those senior elders today, it reminds you of your purpose and gives you drive to fulfil those legacies.
Yep.
And also to ensure that their legacies are validated and never forgotten.
Yeah, wow. And getting into the specifics of it, I guess, we now have TUMRAs that cover, I think, 43% of the Great Barrier Reef coastline. It must be, like you said, from a personal point of view, from your community's point of view, very pleasing just to see it progress like that and seeing other traditional owner groups from across the catchment really start to get involved and participate in a program like this.
Yeah, I believe we have 10 in total, and then there's another 3 that are currently in the process of going through the process that they need to fulfill to establish their TUMRAs. But with regards to that, working within the Girringun TUMRA region, it's very, very important. But what I also love is the opportunities that Reef Authority provide for the other TUMRA coordinators to have those regular catch-ups, to see what is or isn't working within their respective sea country areas. So with my capacity working within Girringun also, I may be a Bandjin and Girramay traditional owner. However, I'm also, through my great-grandparents, I'm connected to Girringun country, south to the Whitsundays, and then Kukuyalanji country to the north. So it's because of my grandparents as well that I have such a strong connection and passion for country culture and my people to see many wonderful things prosper for my people.
Yeah. I guess here at the Reef Authority we often put forward how marine management is underpinned by 60,000 years of traditional knowledge. Has the TUMRA program changed the way that that you think about caring for the Great Barrier Reef?
Oh, most definitely. And as I say to agency partners and other organisations that contact us about possibly working with us, it's about doing more for country.
Yep.
Yes, I'm aware that we've done a lot. However, with the current state of our ocean, I feel collaboratively we need to do more together.
Yeah.
Because if you look after country, country will look after you. And, I would love to see the ocean in good health so that generations to come can enjoy it.
It's such a great analogy that you just put forward. I guess you being able to combine your culture with your professional life as well, I think. Did you ever, I guess, what inspired you to become a Girringun TUMRA coordinator?
For me, it's very grounding. As a child, I had a lot to do with Girringun. My grandparents and my mother and my mother's siblings were all heavily involved with the organisation. So I was going to meetings from a small child.
Yeah.
So I went away, worked, and the opportunity came for me to apply for the TUMRA coordinator role. And heart and soul, I was adamant that I wanted the position because I've always had a strong passion and drive to do things for my people. So to be able to be home working on country for my people, with my people, it is such a blessing. And I absolutely love working with the elders. They connect with country through our special projects even.
Yep.
And to see their faces light up, it gives you a stronger passion and drive to do more.
And even though you've had that sort of that drive or that vision since you were young, do you think it's has it strengthened your connection to country or helped shape your identity, would you say?
Oh, most definitely. And being around those elders has given me stronger knowledge and understanding of my respective country, but also culture, my family connections, and working with those elders. You may not necessarily be direct family to them, but through their guidance and their mentoring, we're all like one big family.
Yeah.
So it's very, very special.
Yeah, cool. So, can I ask you about, I guess, the nuts and bolts, if you like, of the TUMRA program? As I said before, we often say how our marine management is underpinned by traditional knowledge, but it's probably not something that everyone understands. Can you sort of explain that a little bit more, if you like? How does Indigenous knowledge complement the latest marine science or management practices?
So I guess with regards to the TUMRA, elders and traditional owners, through the TUMRA space, it's created an opportunity for what our elders did for many thousands of years before us, far more valued and appreciated. So now they're actually being heard, and with regards to the cultural knowledge complementing the Western science, it's very, very special, not only for this generation but future generations, because we're seeing and hearing elders speak of there was seagrass there many years ago.
Yep.
And today there's nothing there. And then we've been to other places where they had thought the seagrass had died back, but recent surveys that we've done, it's come back quite thick. So those elders, their faces light up and they say, oh, we thought there was nothing here. And then they get to see the dugong feeding trails. So that is important.
Yeah. And you answered my next question, basically. Can you provide an example around something like that? But I guess, can we put it in a different way? What do you think contemporary marine scientists can learn, from traditional knowledge or sea country management?
Most importantly, scientists need to ensure that they do things in a respectful manner. So making sure that they have contact with those elders and the respective traditional owner groups. Don't just go out on country and think you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's not best practice.
If we can look back, I guess, from 2005 through to 2025, with 20 years of the program and it's slowly getting bigger, I guess relationships and partnerships would really have strengthened over the years. Is collaboration key, I guess, in your eyes moving forward?
Oh, definitely collaboration is key. However, my vision for the Girringun TUMRA is I want us to be at a point where we do things independently, and that we're self-sufficient with regards to our abilities and skills to do monitoring, but fee-for-service stuff, financially independent. So that is my ultimate vision for the Girringun TUMRA region for our 6 saltwater groups.
And tying that all together, I think I know what you're going to say, but how do you see the role of younger generations? And it's a no-brainer that it comes to getting involved from a young age and continuing those traditions like you mentioned.
Yeah, and I guess with any organisations or agency partners that are looking to work with traditional owner groups to upskill the next generation, by all means contact the Girringun TUMRA, because we're keen to do that, because that affirms the vision for the future that we have, not only for this generation but future generations to come.
Yeah, okay. Can I take you back when you took the 25 kids out onto the reef and some of them seeing it for the first time, tying it all back to that story? Is there anything else, I guess, or is there another personal story? I love hearing these from a personal perspective, or a highlight from the TUMRA program that you can share with us as well?
So last year I had an opportunity to go to Brook Island, so that's part of my sea country. That's Girramay and Bandjin sea country area. We did coral surveys, and I actually got to experience that opportunity with my daughter, and to see the amount of coral, the fish, and how healthy it was.
Yep.
And to be able to connect with my respective sea country in that way, and to be able to experience with my daughter, I was actually crying, because it was a moving experience, but I was thinking of how my ancestors hunted and gathered that respective area, and to see it in its beauty, you know, with the different corals and the different fish. It was a very, very, very special experience that I'll never forget.
Wow. And do you think from that you can see your daughter following in your footsteps?
She has a love for the water, so I'm hoping that maybe one day she will, but she has a strong love for the water, so never say never.
Yeah, exactly. Look, we could talk about this all afternoon. I often say that around this sort of stuff, but how can our listeners, for example, support or learn more about traditional knowledge or traditional ownership of the Great Barrier Reef? As I said, it's something that maybe some people don't completely understand, but what's your advice?
If you aren't 100% sure on how a TUMRA works, or what traditional owners are trying to do for sea country, don't be shy to reach out and say, what are you currently doing? How can we work with you? Most importantly, keywords work with you, because it's about working together in unity, because we can do many things together for not only country but our beautiful ocean as well.
Yeah, okay. And as I said previously, you touched on it a little bit around independence in terms of the Girringun TUMRA moving forward. Cast your eye, I guess, a little bit wider. How do you see the future of the TUMRA program across the entire Great Barrier Reef over the next 20 years?
For the entire TUMRA programs, for the GBR footprint, I would love to see a stronger emphasis on traditional owners having more of a voice for country. Yes, I'm aware that with the TUMRA space we do have a seat at the table, but I feel far more can be done from a traditional owner's perspective, with us having a stronger voice at the table.
Yeah, okay. Look, there's no more fitting way, I think, to wrap up season 2 than chatting to you, Jade, around traditional knowledge, everything traditional use of marine resources agreements, and I look forward to chatting again, hopefully down the track. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you so much for your time too.
Cheers.
Thank you.